Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quantum Leap Revisited, a show that we do once a week where we talk about the original Quantum Leap series that ran from 1989 to 1993, the one with Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell. And today we're going to be discussing the episode Killing Time, which is the fifth episode of the fifth season. And for those who don't know, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, of course, is this distinguished panel of gentlemen. First of all, to my left, there's the script doctor. He is a seasoned veteran screenwriter, has his own Patreon where he teaches screenwriting. He also hosts his own show called Scripts on Saturdays, every Saturday at 7 p.m., where he and a guest analyze and discuss screenplays that have either been greenlit by big studios or being considered by big studios, or at some point were considered by big studios. Very interesting show. How's it going, Script?
It's going well. Been busy, but I've been looking forward to discussing this episode since we started the show.
It is an interesting one. We always like it when there's one that's a bit kind of non-standard, and I think that this one fits that bill. We also have with us Nick. Nick is a man that wears many hats for his local community. He is the local minister there. He's also the local locksmith, and he's also a consultant to the sheriff and to the fire department. He also has his own ranch where he raises goats, and he's an expert in science fiction. How's it going, Nick?
Going good. And I finally got in my Quantum Leap Revisited merch, so...
I love it.
Great episode to talk. Yeah, I'll have to do that, and then
That's the best. And you have a sticker.
There. And then
that's the best that you have a sticker for that. I should get one too. But yeah, it's awesome.
Well, you can put them up digitally in your background.
Ron Donofero, where do I buy one of those? Well, if you're watching this video now, there's probably something that has like a little picture of a shop. If you click on that shop, there's shirts and stickers and things like that. They're on my channel.
Yeah, so on the Price of Reason live channel, there's, just like you see like videos, live stream, shorts, that there's one now that's shop. And if you go there, then you can go through and he has stuff for both this stream and the Late Night Owl stream.
So, yeah, absolutely. There is...
And the shirts come in a wide variety of colors. I just thought that this one would look the best for me.
It suits you. I kept thinking like black or white in terms of shirts, but you can actually choose a lot of different colors, and I think you chose a really cool one. It's actually better. Blue does look good, and Ron Donofero says it
is real Quantum Leapy in my mind.
It is, yeah. I think that's the association that it has. By the way, I forgot to mention that Nick also is a member of the Red 5 Network, which is a network of podcasters. And, that looks like a new logo for the Red 5 Network.
Yeah.
And he has his own channel, the Backyard Tardis, and that's where he does his own videos and streams. So you should check that out as well. And, today is really, really an interesting episode. I think we said that. It's called Killing Time. And I think that before we dive into it, we were talking about how the fifth season is that season that they try a lot of different ideas, and they took a lot of swings. And I feel like this episode is a swing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's a swing, all right. And it's got its own little logic issues, too.
It has its logic issues, but at the same time, it's quite memorable, for good and for bad. I mean, there is something that happens in this episode that at least you remember that such an episode existed, if you know what I mean.
Get way more of Gushy, and I like Gushy. I like seeing him. He's an interesting chap.
It was interesting. We get to know more probably about his personality in this episode than we have in the past 4 seasons.
Yep.
It's funny because it's the same actor from the first episode, and they decided, and from that one that he leaped home, and after this is already the 5th year, they gave him like a 3rd or 4th appearance, meaning like they really use this guy sparingly. But you know what? I actually, if I had to think of something that I liked here in this episode, is having us interact with him more was kind of cool.
Yeah, he's only
Well,
been in 6 episodes of this series, so
that has me wonder. Like, Script is he somebody that like does something else behind the scenes?
well, he has written one thing before. He wrote a short, but no, he's just a character actor that I guess is really good friends with Don Belisario, because this is the only thing of Don's that he's been in, but he's done some little other stuff here and there. However, this actor, Dennis Wolfberg, who played Gushy, he passed away only the year after this show ended in '94. So
Wow.
yeah, he was a young guy. Like he was, well, not so that young. He was born in '46, but died in '94. I'd still say that's relatively young.
Yeah.
Mary White is saying
amazing
IMDb
he's
is
always
saying the
available.
character name is Irving Gushy Gushman. Yeah, so he did die, I guess, a year after this aired, which is sad, but at least, you know, I will always remember this actor. Even though it's almost 100 episodes, like 98 episodes, 97 episodes, whatever it is, and he, like you said, he appears maybe in 6 of them, but he is a very memorable character because they talk about him a lot. The one thing I think I brought him up at some point when I was reviewing. I'm not going to start dwelling into this, but the news show, because in the news show they were trying to create this situation where you see the people in present day all the time. And what I was saying in my reviews is that one of the cool things on the original show was that they didn't do that every second. If they showed you something in the future, they did that very sparingly, and you knew it was something unique when you saw it. And they didn't want you to sit there and see that all the time, 24/7, like they did with a new one, leaving a little bit of mystery. Although this episode, and we're certainly going to dive into it, it really does show us a lot from quote unquote present day, and which it's 1999 apparently, even though I guess it aired in 1993.
92,
92-ish. Yeah, probably 92 still it aired. But interesting. It's interesting what they thought within 7 years they'd accomplish a lot of interesting things. But I think that's a good time to dive in.
I agree, yeah.
Okay. Let me share the screen. Okay. Can you see it?
Yep.
Will be the leap home. And then he's like, he's looking at this thing.
Yep.
It is 1958, Thursday, the 18th, June 18th, 1958. Hey, close to today's date. With a gun. And then he's watching this thing on screen where they're talking about this guy that's killed 8 women, and he is an illiterate. What did they say about him? He's illiterate.
He's an illiterate serial killer, essentially.
Right. Nice that they added that little planting and payoff there.
Yeah.
Like, usually, I'm not saying that usually they wouldn't say that, but I think that in this case, there's very much a planning and payoff, because the fact that they say that he's illiterate helps him later to prove to that lady. If they didn't plant that here, then it wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
I guess what I'm saying is, usually when I hear like a news report about a guy that's like on a killing spree, I usually don't hear that somebody's like, hey, do you know that he's killing a lot of women and he's illiterate?
Yeah,
do you get what I'm trying?
Strange.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
and given the time period, well, I guess this is still a few years before they would have said, and he's a gamer.
Right, far right gamer or whatever it is. But you know what I'm trying to say. I think that maybe during those days times were different, and they did focus on him being illiterate. It just seems like kind of something random to throw into a news report. But you know what? I can't blame them. And this is after me seeing it years ago. I've seen it multiple times throughout the years, and now I know what that planting and payoff is. So I'm kind of more. It sticks out more, but it's not the worst I've seen. I mean, it's not like, you know, they did what they had to do. It actually works later for the story. So he sees that it's him, and then there's this upbeat whatever that the fast like 90s thing.
Tex brought up an excellent point that we'll get to here as soon as we're over the intro.
Anyhow, so his name I think is like Leon Stiles or something like that, or am I wrong?
Yeah, Leon Stiles.
It's June 18th, 1958. Connie Ray, I guess it's that lady.
She's almost in everything. Heck, I think she's even been like early YouTube like web series like shows, but she looks a lot like her. But yeah, this actress here I'm not too familiar with.
Current years should be 2000. I don't know.
Because season 4 with the body swap leap was September of 1999.
Scribelight, friend of the channel, says, I mean, being illiterate could be an identifying factor if anyone interacts with him. Shrug. It's fine. It's fine. It's not there. There's nothing specifically wrong with it. It's just like, it just seems like a very specific detail. What'd you say?
I said they have his picture. I don't think they really need to question him on his literacy to identify.
Right, but who knows? Maybe during those days, literacy was like an important thing. In any case, I see Scribelight is here, which I'm always happy to see him. I feel like I haven't talked to you in a while, Scribe. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. But, what was I going to say?
I don't know. What were you going to say, sir?
I don't know. I guess I was going to... Oh, Dennis Wolfberg. Okay, so that's the gushy actor.
Yep.
And then music, that's the usual thing. Let me see. Who directed? Because that's for Tex Rogers.
Pause on them right there. How old do you think that girl is?
7 or 8.
I guess, yeah, she looks like she's 7 or 8.
Because Tex is bringing up the point, is she old enough that she can't see Al?
Oh, that is true. Well, I think usually until they're 5 or something, they can watch. Who directed this? Okay, directed by Michael Watkins. I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah, he's done a few.
Written by Tommy Thompson, that for sure I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so the thing starts, and the women and, you know, the girl, they're like, well, what are you going to do with us? And he's like, And then meanwhile, now this is my question. How did he get a gun? I mean, if Sam has a gun, how does this guy have a gun?
Oh, well, we see in a wide shot later when Al is going to chase after the guy, there's a Marine that's been knocked unconscious inside the waiting room. He's on the floor.
Ah, okay. Sorry. And I guess now that you're saying that, it sounds familiar to me. I guess I didn't notice that. So, how did I get here? You're in the future. Or I don't know if he tells him that.
Well, he tells him that he can't like go.
You change history, and the girl's gonna die. Like he's saying that the little girl's gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Is it here already that he says that the little girl's gonna die, or he doesn't know yet?
I don't think he knows yet. It's Gushy that tells him that much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know that yet. He's like, this sheriff is gonna come in and he's gonna kill you. That's what happened in the original history.
Mm-hmm.
He killed his daughter, or whatever he says. Get my gun ready and some bullets, or whatever he tells his like deputy. Prepare my rifle and some bullets, or whatever. I don't know if that's the exact terminology used, but I feel like there's something like that being said here. No.
No, not really.
There isn't something about him saying like that he wants to, that you already feel like he's going to kill him, like here in this early scene. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyhow, I could have been imagining it. In any case, I guess this is the part where Al has to tell him that there's a little bit of a mishap.
Like,
And
how
then
did he
Al's,
get a hold of the gun? It's like everybody's asking that. Like, how? How did he do it?
and then he's like, "Well, at least you didn't let him out of the waiting room, did you?" Well, but you didn't let him out of the building. Well, Sam. He's like, "I'm gonna go find him, and you can talk to Gushy. Gushy is fixing his brainwaves to your brainwaves." And he's like, "Yeah, great, Gushy." And then
Yeah, it's kind of, that was the one thing that like really doesn't make sense, is like, why was there a gun in that chamber room?
Well, I mean, it's a military base, so they're probably trying to justify it that the security always is armed in Project Quantum Leap.
Yeah, but that would be like, because it's a military base, we're gonna put guns in the holding cells.
Yeah, no, you're not disagreeing. You're not, and I'm not in disagreement with you at all. I think it's very, very weird and contrived.
I mean, I guess if I was doing the episode, have that guard, have it so that, hey, yeah, there's a guard that's stationed in that room, and the guy leapt in and immediately overpowered the guard.
Yeah,
and play it out that way, just so it makes a little more sense.
I would have liked to have seen, a bit more explanation here, but it's okay, I guess. Anyhow, we were here. Is this the part where he tells him that the girl is gonna die, or it's not here yet?
no, it's not Al that tells him. It's Gushy that tells him.
And then,
yes, the Dead Man. It is an underground base. It's pretty much like Stargate.
Yeah, I mean it's underground, but also in a mountain.
Yep. Just like Stargate.
All right. Do you remember the exact thing? I think that okay. So I think Gushy, he looks into all the victims, and it turns out that this guy liked most of his victims were ladies of the night.
Yep.
So based on that, and I think you also said that there's a tracker on the car. I guess they're able to figure out the general direction of where he's going.
Yes.
And then I was like, "You help Sam, I'll go find him." And then he's like, "Don't you want to get law enforcement involved?" And he's like, "No, we can't have anybody involved. They don't have a Code 1 clearance. We have to get Sam back here without anybody knowing and no harm."
One of the things and LoJack and stuff did exist. That kind of technology did exist at that time. However, it was at a time period where you would actually have to call the number, and they would have to track it by satellite. Whereas now we're actually at a point now where you can physically track your car with modern cell phones and get that information, and even brick your car if you want from your cell phone.
Oh, cool.
Nice. But it's still kind of nice that they had that. I think it's cool,
Well, I mean, they're supposed to have future tech, so it's neat to see that they're showing them having this in '99. But that's something that we've probably had since about 2010.
Yeah. So, I guess let's just. Do you remember what he says here to them? They haven't told him about the girl yet, right?
No.
There's a part where he reveals who he really is, I believe, but I don't know if it happens yet.
He sits down in a chair for that. So it's right here. So he's explaining it. The daughter's logically asking questions and thinking through it, whereas the mom's like, we're in even more trouble because this guy's completely insane.
Right. He's like, "No, I know how it sounds, but I'm from the future, and I'm just here trying to get home." I don't know what he says.
No, that's pretty much it.
And the deputy is telling the sheriff basically that maybe he should sit this one out because he doesn't want him to throw his career away.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that, deputy. Just give me my rifle. I don't know why I thought he said it, but I could be wrong.
There is a point there where he does say, just get me my
Make
rifle.
sure my rifle has bullets in it, yo. He's like, okay, I'll prove it. Here. You're studying for med school, right? Yeah, my husband went, and that doesn't mean that I can't go to med school, too. I waited for him all those years, and then he left. And then it's like, book, here, take it. And then she's like, well, how many parts are there to a lung? And he's like, first there was the brain. And then he's like, how many parts are there to the brain? There's 5 lobes. The frontal
5 lobes
lobe.
to the lung, and it's only been the lung, no brain stuff yet.
First it was the lung, and there's what is the? I don't even remember the question
There's
and the answer.
Okay, upper right, upper left, middle left, lower right, lower left, lower middle. Yeah.
Right. Oh, hey, Scribe.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
I've been waiting for a bit, so my comment is probably a little stale by now.
Oh, what was your comment? Just talk.
Well, about the gun in the waiting room. Yeah, that's a little contrived, as script said. But what is even less believable is that a trained Marine was taken down by an illiterate thug. That makes no sense at all, that they get a drop on that guy in the first place to be able to take his gun without some kind of damage being done to him. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Maybe they weren't expecting it, because usually, that's not what they run into here, so it was a rare case.
Well, illiterate serial killers are often known as ninjas, so it's true.
In any case, then she asked him about the brain, and then he has answers for that.
No, it's the foot.
There's the frontal lobe, and there's the other lobe.
No,
I don't remember all the lobes.
But the bones in the foot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then he's giving all their scientific names for all the bones, and then he goes, if you'd like, I could spell them.
Right. Now, they said I was illiterate. If I was illiterate, how could I do all that?
And she's like, you looked at the book and memorized it. And he's like, I'm illiterate, and I'm also a speed reader.
Right. I really like that Gushy was kind of, it's the first time that we've really seen this, that because it's kind of a makeshift hologram, he really does kind of come in and out. And I really liked how the scene was set up, too. This looks pretty cool. To me.
No, I did like that because it was a really good effect, because that's tricky to do even in the early 90s for filming, because he is physically there and then they're layering it over another locked shot where he's not there so that you can have that transparency.
Well, yeah, but they also don't have a shadow. So I'm wondering if they did do it in that room, or if they are.
Well, there's a little bit of a shadow because
there's a little. If you look at the window.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, the blinds. You're right. Never mind. My bad.
No,
the blinds. It was very well done, though. You know what? For 90s, I think that this is really cool, personally.
Okay.
Think this was awesome. And I remember as a kid, I saw this as a kid, and I really liked it. He's like, and the audio is also kind of warbly. And then he's like, Jenny? Is her name Jenny?
I think so, yeah.
And then this is a shot that they actually used from the pilot. They just reused it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind.
If only Sam could smell Gushy's breath through the hologram.
And then I kind of like this, that they had he has the sort of Gushy with a type of hologram on his dashboard. You know what? For what they thought, I mean, obviously it didn't exist in 1999, and this is 1992, but I do like the direction in which they were thinking.
Well, I always find it funny when sci-fi's, they can't think past their technology, because he used a CD to produce it. Like they downloaded the computers, all its data on that, plus apparently it's AI personality because it's answering his questions and all that onto that CD. And it makes me think of when you look at stuff in the 60s and they've got like super advanced computers that become intelligent and take over the world, and they're run by microfilm tapes.
Yeah.
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 Well, analog is a little bit faster than digital.
Someone's a data snob.
Darn right.
Yeah.
Even so, and I agree with you, Nick, I think they sometimes can't see beyond, the technology that exists at that moment, and I 100% agree. I still think that their heart was in the right place. I think that there's some cool ideas here.
Well, I like stuff like that, but like that was one thing that I appreciated that Star Trek and Stargate both did this, where they used crystals. So they made up a format to negate around that.
The thing, and not to go too much off track here, the thing that I've always been impressed with is Star Trek: The Next Generation, that they had all like the sort of touchpads or whatever, and everything was sort of smooth. Like it looked like something that you would see much later. Meaning, I think that the way they show the screens and the way they interact with the computers in The Next Generation, I thought that was pretty well done.
Yeah, but they also imagined a technology they thought would be so far in the future that it's outside of, contemporary abilities, and yet we've met and surpassed that already within 20 years.
You're right, but it was still nice. I mean, at least when I look at the original series, I feel like they didn't surpass anything. They went to like Radio Shack, found like a few light bulbs, and they brought them to the set.
Well,
Nothing personal.
I mean, communicators were
yes. Okay.
Were an imagination that was beyond its time. They effectively imagined flip cell phones.
Okay. I'll give you that. They imagined the cell phone.
And I'm not holding it against them. I'm just saying that it's just amazing that we've come to a point where the technology we use today, in a commonplace sense, matches something that was supposed to have happened 1,000 years in the future, or whatever, Next Generation.
I will give you credit that when it comes to effectively like cell phones and the communication machines in the original series, that's really something great. Including their watch and all that stuff. That's really cool. But when it comes to I'm referring more when they walk into a room with a computer and they talk to the computer and there's like two lights, like I said, that they bought at Radio Shack just blinking.
Sure.
Those are the moments where you're thinking, well, it's too bad they couldn't think a little bit beyond their own time.
Well, I mean, and even here, it's like we have a heads-up display on your windshield, but it's shaped like a television screen.
Well,
I guess so.
You go back and you watch Buck Rogers, and when they, I can't remember if they call it the council but anyways, what you would think of like the government leaders, and it's a room full of circle light brights.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
They're like, it's a world run by robots or artificial intelligence, and they've all got light bright heads.
Yeah. And how do you express technology in a time where technology was still in the way that we think of it now? Sort of, it's always blinking lights. It's blinking lights in a box in a machine or something doing, and you have to make that very clear. So yeah, but anyway, he's got his heads-up display on his.
So he has the display here, and he's taking his car. He's driving, and Sam is trying to think what to do. He's like, what are you going to do? And then this is where he thinks, well, I'm letting her go. And then I guess he calls him and he says, Sheriff, I'll make a deal with you. I'm going to let the girl out. But nothing happens to me or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You promise not to come in.
You promise not to come in. Yeah, sure, no problem. And then they... I guess they get her ready.
In his voice, like he had, like there was a moment of yeah, I'll make that deal. But then you see him afterwards. He gets slowly more and more frustrated because he wants to kill this guy.
Right. Right. Of course. Yeah, that's fine. You can let her out. And then, well, you be a good girl now. Go outside and do it. Goodbye.
Yeah, putting a sweater on her on a Texas night in May. I'm sure she's really cold.
But
it's June, but yeah.
She turns to her mom and she asks, "Is he going to do bad things to you?" like that hit. That made so much more emotional weight. Like she didn't just happily go outside. Like the awareness of that, of her leaving, and that might be the last time she sees her mom, kind of thinking, really well done.
Yep.
Yes. And then, but at this point, I think what happens is Dr. Beckett, he still kills you. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess Al like this guy's
Oh boy,
here.
future hooker. Cyber hooker.
You want to come up or what?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I want to come up, yeah.
That looks like story time at a elementary school these days.
He's still not buying the year change, but I'm thinking you're driving in a car that looks nothing like the vehicles from your time.
Yeah.
Right.
You're driving into a city that looks nothing like buildings and cities and stuff.
How does he even know? How does he even know where he's going, really?
Well, I mean,
Like,
he was out in the desert. I think if you just drive towards the glow.
Sex
so.
world.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Man, if you, I mean, that's like store. That's like bookstore. Sex world.
Well,
You
you
know
know
what?
you can get service there.
I know, man.
It gets the job done. It also explains
Yeah.
how Al is so quick to find where he went.
I mean,
It
just 2
reminds
steps
me,
away from
'cause
the.
there was stuff like that in Toronto.
That's true.
The funny thing is, he's illiterate, so he couldn't even see that it says Sex World, apparently, but I guess he felt it.
Oh, he's felt it all right. I think the kissing lips probably gave it away.
He's like, how did you...
That modern hotels these days lack the kind of neon that we needed for the future. I mean, I wanted to be able to fall asleep with a neon glow over everything.
This is like the most... But you know what? It's supposed to be in 1999.
Oh, I know, yeah. This is Cyberpunk Future 2000, yeah.
This is a very 1999 type of hotel. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I believe that this is 1999.
But a very specific kind of hotel.
Oh,
This is
true,
not
too.
the Motel 8.
Before we do our real change, let's quickly... LA is too far from Quantum Leap headquarters for the stated 90-minute time frame to get Styles back.
Did they say he made it all the way to LA? Is
I
that
don't
where
think
that's
so.
supposed to be?
Why would he need to? If isn't he in Nevada? Or is it New Mexico? Where are they?
New
Remind
Mexico,
me.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd drive all the way to LA. I think that he'd just, I'm sure
Well, I
there's
mean-
somewhere in New Mexico, there's a little part of town that there's like a red light district.
well, you
Which
saw
you
the
found.
speed of the car. I mean, it was going a zillion miles an hour in the future, so LA's probably pretty easy.
Mary White says, shiny clothes and neon lights, the future. Yep.
Exactly.
New Mexico. Yeah, sorry, that's what I thought. I
They're
thought
in
they said he was in
Albuquerque.
LA. I don't remember that. I'm not saying that they didn't say it. And yes, there is a real change text. Maroc I don't know. He laughed at one of your jokes, Scribe, like maybe at the
Sure.
Sex World.
Sex world. I love Sex
Dick
World.
Tracy had a smartwatch that was created in the early 1930s.
Yeah, he had this wrist radio. Yeah, I mean, and it even had a TV at one point. They had a little screen on there. So, yeah, Dick Tracy was ahead of the curve.
Hello, computer. That's from Star Trek when they talk to the lamp.
Well,
you know what I'm trying to say.
not only that, but when he's talking to the mouse and he's saying, like,
Yeah.
hello, computer.
Michelle Ferry, good to see you here. She said, I really like that Al gets some time to be a hero in this episode. I did like that. I didn't mind that, they there was some time crunch going on and Al had to step up.
I do like that they showed that with Al, and he brought out, for the last X amount of years. But also, Al is a veteran, and I think, Script, I think you mentioned it earlier. Like it's a little weird that Al wasn't better equipped for this, and then we're gonna have a scene here once we get the real change done that it almost looks like Al leaps in front of the bullets instead of dodging them.
Yeah.
That is very, very strange, that scene. But yeah, Ron and Afero, my car has a heads-up display, not like that, but...
Well, Al's more of a lover, not a fighter. So,
Well, let's also keep in mind that Al, it's not 20-year-old Al here. He's already a bit older, I guess. Al is also the admiral, so he tells the Marine to stand down. Anyhow, I think Los Alamos.
The Vietnam vets that I know, like I've got a customer. I constantly think he's got to be dead. He's in such bad health and suffering from things from being over there. And then, like, he'll show up another couple years later and have me out for a job, but he's got all sorts of liver and different. He's stitched together so badly. He says, but if anybody wants to take me, I can still do one last kick to the head. I might not live, but people will live. It's like,
that's awesome. That guy's a badass.
Yeah.
And then IMDb claims that Style says L.A. Deadman sends, I think, Los Alamos. Al had a bulletproof vest on. Yes, he did. But can a Navy admiral give orders to a Marine?
I mean, if he has civilian command of that base, he might have the authority a little bit over the depending on how they've structured it, it's possible.
Well, let's now that we're doing a real change, let's see what the other thing is. Present, share screen, and make it larger.
Which was kind of an interesting thing, that if he's a Navy commander, is he still active? Because they've shown him when he goes to court and stuff, he dresses up in his dress code.
Mm-hmm.
But that would make it a Navy operation. So would there even be Marines?
Yeah, they kept it very generalized as to like the hierarchy and the military nature of the whole thing. Because wasn't he was Al? He was an admiral, right? They call him an admiral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a Rear Admiral Calavici or something. I think that's his exact.
Okay, so
title.
he was Navy. He wasn't necessarily a Marine, was he?
Right.
Okay.
It's fine. I'm sure that they made it work. He's an admiral. They show him respect. He's important in the project.
Yeah.
Everybody likes him. It's perfectly fine. So probably after Sam also, he's like, maybe the highest ranking person in this project, I would assume. In any case, she's like, do you want a drink? Yeah. Wow, nice. And why don't you stay for a bit? Another time. It's tempting, but I'll have to. But another time, or something like that, he says to her.
I mean, I'm shot, so whatever.
Well, maybe in 1999 they had really good bulletproof vests.
Sure.
Well, he continues to show that it hurts, and this is where the little girl is explaining the whole Sam Beckett thing to him.
Right.
Oh, the hooker was in Candyman.
Oh.
I don't
Cool.
who'd you play in Candyman? Oh, sorry, I got sirens in the background.
Remind me what I think. Does he just explain to her that they're gonna come in here and they're gonna shoot me? Remind me, what are the final things that are said here? I kind of forgot the dialogue.
So the final things that are said here is that Sam knows that around midnight they're going to break into, the police are going to break into his home and then shoot him. And this is where we get into a lot of the weirdness of how Quantum Leap works, because he's talking about like, my body, my spirit is here, and the other person's is in the waiting room back home. And the whole stakes here is that if they don't get Leroy back into the waiting room, Sam can't leap. And if Sam is killed in this time, he's going to die. And then of course, Leroy's going to be stuck in his body, or his body's going to be like, we just don't know the rules. They really muddy what's going on here.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little tricky.
Yeah. So his body has to be at Quantum Leap for a jump to take place. It doesn't happen elsewise.
It's supposed to be his body, but they've been screwing around with that, saying, well, maybe it's his spirit and his body's what's really leaping from place to place, and the aura around there. But it doesn't quite seem to work.
Or maybe they don't know for sure that they don't need to have his body there. They don't want to take the risk of like him something happening, and then so for all they know, they have to have him there in the quantum because that's where it started. But maybe technically they don't, but they don't have any reason. They don't want to start experimenting with that possibility and lose Sam forever.
Yeah, because Sam's body technically is in the waiting room, and because it's linked to the quantum accelerator, that's how those switches sort of happen, as far as we can understand at this point.
Right.
This is another shot that they often reuse.
Yeah.
Like they have their few shots that they use.
I always thought if something went wrong in a leap, and like in this situation, I would, in my meta's understanding of the universe they've created, if Sam got shot at that point, he would leap at that point because God or whatever else would just move him along to his next job.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether the body was in the waiting room or not. Now, if Sam dies in the future, if Sam's body gets killed in the future, I don't know what happens then.
Yeah, because again, they muddy the waters because he tells the mother, like, it's my body or my spirit.
Right.
And you're like, well, for up until this point, it felt like it's always been your spirit because how else could you see a different reflection?
Right.
If it wasn't like, you know, if it's like, why would the aura also mask your reflection to your perspective if it wasn't actually if it was just an aura thing? But it feels more like it's his soul is leaping from body to body.
Yep. And then I guess he arrives back here and he confronts Good.
For some reason.
Very strange, yes. Well, to be fair, when he prepares to leave and Gushy is helping him set up for his departure, it's something that he could have taken with him because he never wanted to harm Sam's body.
Of course not. No.
Yeah.
So this, I can sort of buy why he had it. It would have made more sense. You're right, Scribe. Whoever was sitting in that outside the waiting room or just in general, they should have that as part of like standard operating procedure.
Oh, yeah. They should have had, I mean, there should have already been a protocol for knowing what they, at this point in the project, knowing what they know of the kind of characters that could jump into Sam's body. They should have had a protocol for containment, whether it was a gas to knock out the person or a taser or something in case something went awry. Because if they didn't have a closed door on the chamber, which apparently they didn't, it had to have been something that could have come up.
Yeah, I agree. Like some kind of gas that, like, you know, anesthesia that even puts him and Al to sleep, but at least, you know.
Why does Sam's body need to be conscious in the first place at all for any of this?
Right.
Well, they question
him for things.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, that's for the normal stuff. But when you got a guy that's pointing a gun at Al, like, why don't they just fill that thing with nitrous oxide or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or have the body restrained until they can determine who's jumped into Sam's body today.
Right. That's another thing that they need to do. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of questions that could be asked here, but I guess it you know, sometimes we
wouldn't have an episode. We wouldn't have a show if we didn't have this. So yeah.
When you know the season opener, they had JFK's killer. So you'd think after that they would be more cautious, but to think that person who had military training and all that didn't escape, but this guy does.
Yeah.
Okay, so Price of Reason Live, if you look at the opening scenes, there's a very hard set of feet. It was the unconscious Marine that Styles got the jump on somehow and took his gun. And then Tex Rogers says, it has been theorized that such a scene was cut. Ron Donofrio had a great line they could have used. Yeah, I think that I think I would have liked to have seen that, but it is what it is. In any case,
turns in my memory of just how she did that line.
Yeah,
you know what she did. It was a very important. I actually really like this scene because the whole time you're seeing this sheriff, and he's sort of, in a way, he's sort of the villain, but he's not really a villain because he's doing what almost anybody else in his shoes would want to do. So. The only thing here is that Sam basically leaped into this like terrible person, but nobody can blame this guy for wanting to kill him. And I just think that the way I love the writing of this scene, of this idea.
Yeah.
We could argue about the lore and about certain things and questions that are raised here, but when it comes to the heart of the story, I think that it does what it needs to do here. This scene is very, very good.
Yeah, he's an
This woman is trying to remind him that
yes.
that will be all he's remembered for, as opposed to just being a sheriff and a man who misses his daughter.
Right.
Right.
Back to I haven't seen this episode in 30 years or something, but as soon as I saw him come through the door and see her standing in front of him, that very line and how she said it just came right back to me, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can go now. I wonder what happens now. This is the one thing I'm curious about. Since they did the tranquilizer, when he leaps back, does he just fall asleep?
No, because Sam's body got
brilliant.
the tranquilizer, not his soul.
I see. But so he'll just hop in here and be like,
"Where's my
the
hooker?"
regular him?" Like they'll
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, gosh, there's so much fun you could have with this if they'd made this more in continuity than how they actually did it, because you could have a really great joke where Al's like, yeah, we had trouble finding you. Why? Well, like, remember the last time when I shot you with a tranquilizer dart? Well, it took a lot longer for him to wake up from it, so we didn't know who you were while you were in the waiting room.
As he arrives. Hello. There's also a weird thing I can't play, but I think it goes, oh boy, but it almost seems like the audio doesn't go with his mouth.
Probably not. Probably had
But
the ADR.
it is what it is.
Yep.
Oh, actually, no. The music here is like the fake Enigma.
Oh, okay.
When the credits roll, it's like do do tss, do do tss, do do tss, do. I don't know how to explain it to you. That's like the beat of Enigma.
Oh, we forgot to do it. Ro wasn't here, but
Flat hole.
What's your thoughts on the intro for this current season?
Gosh. Well, the music is definitely more live and more orchestral, very much trying to be pumpy. It's got the auto drum in it, which I don't think technically works. I mean, I understand what it's trying to do, be a little bit borderlining the epic, but it's not terrible, but it does feel like it's kind of shoot from the hip, desperate type of thing to jazz up everything.
If it
I
ain't
love that
broke,
you have
don't
a
fix it,
Quantum
is
Leap
what I say.
Revisited shirt script.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I decided to snag. I was jealous of Nick, so I just got my own. Yeah.
Nice.
A-Team vibes, only louder. What the? It's the same guy that made the A-Team music, I think, that makes the theme song to
Yeah.
this one. It's Mike
the
Post, I think, did both of them.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the revision of the
What's
A-Team
funny is-
theme song for its last season, I thought was better because it had more of a techno beat to it. I kind of liked it better.
I'm trying to
More
think. Did they
guitar.
do a different theme song for the A-Team? And I can't remember the different one now that you're saying it.
I
But
can't remember if there was a different one. I just know the
There
class-
was.
Yeah.
Between when in the last season when they finally got caught and they were doing missions for
to get off the sentence. Yeah.
yeah, what's his name? I forget what his name was. But anyway, once they're doing missions, there was a much more really sort of like edgy guitar riff in the middle of the theme until they moved back to the orchestral one. If you listen to, like, I'm sure somebody on YouTube has the different seasons scores lined up, and yeah, there is a distinct difference in the last season.
the last season when they go working for the government or something.
Yep.
It's kind of a weird
what's his name?
season.
It wasn't Robert Duvall. No, it wasn't Robert Duvall. No, it wasn't Robert Duvall.
It
what's
wasn't
that
Robert
guy's name?
Duvall, but yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. I got to look it up now.
Yeah. And anyhow, that was an interesting. I mean, it was an interesting final season, I suppose. Anyhow, so yeah, this was this episode.
Robert Vaughn. Pardon me.
Robert Vaughn.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Hunt Stockwell. Hunt Stockwell. Yeah. Not Dean
yes.
Stockwell. Hunt Stockwell.
Anyhow, let's go back to just kind of summing up this episode. Script, when you think about this episode, what do you think about it? Like, how do you feel about it?
We got a lot more of 1999 Quantum Leap, which had far more similarities to current day 2025 than I'm comfortable with admitting. And I will say it felt like a slower show because Sam didn't have a whole lot to do. And the few scenes that he does have were good, but this is really us kind of experiencing Nevada 1999 with Al on the hunt trying to find an escaped Leapette, Leapette as it were. And I like the premise a lot. I just kind of wish there's a little bit more substance to this one. But I still think it's a fine episode because it takes a swing and it shows us something very different, which I liked, which is a little bit more agency of the person inhabiting Sam's body of sorts. I would have liked a better reason for him to have gotten out of the waiting room than this contrived. Oh, there's now an unconscious Marine, and then Sam or Leroy took his gun, or Leon took his gun. It just didn't feel. It didn't feel earned for me. And it didn't even make me feel like the antagonist was that much threatening because things are just happening so easy around these people.
The other question it kind of raises is, you want to tell me all the times there's Sam sitting as the other person in this room and nobody to date has ever tried to get out of there?
Yeah, I know, right?
But they do show that Al had to open the door. Like, it wasn't something that they could just get out. And even Sam said, well, you didn't open the door for him. So it's like, so apparently there is some level of barrier, but the fact that he was able to get the gun, which is what we've kind of said is the big plot hole, is that they didn't show us him getting the gun.
Right. And that's what people are saying, though. How we got the gun needed work for sure. And I agree. If, let's say, the thing started and there's just like a Marine guarding that door and the guy is sitting there, and then, somehow the guy he pretends like he's sleeping or something, and the Marine gets closer to him and he gets the drop on him, something, I don't know what. And then Al kind of runs in trying to help the Marine. I don't know what. I just know that the way that it happened, it's so suddenly and nobody really explains anything. And I agree with Ron Donofrio. I suspect that they shot an additional scene. We just don't know what it is. Nick, how did you feel about this episode?
Despite some of the plot holes and little things in it, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. It was very fun. It was interesting getting to see Sam interact with the kidnapping victims, seeing Sam's awkwardness with that, them eventually getting to believe him and willingness to trust him, and in the end, even defend him in a way. I really liked that. We got to see Al kind of, with the neons and stuff, it had a Blade Runner feel, but it also Stargate. Anytime they had an episode where they had to go on a mission on our Earth, they always went around in the supposedly nondescript leather jackets, which I always find funny. It's just like the black fans and all that stuff like that are supposedly inconspicuous, but they totally scream government. But him just kind of going on that adventure and having that, and the stuff with Gushy. I think the stuff with Gushy was neat. It gave it more depth. And I think, if anything, we've had this season, we've already seen a couple times now where they're establishing rules for what's in the waiting room, what's on Earth. Their Earth, they reestablished what we were kind of questioning last week, if that was new, about Sam's actual body being there. And because Sam reiterates that to him, it's actually even though you see him, it's my body here.
They've been floundering around with their lore a bit, with if his aura is there, his body, the waiting room. Really, sometimes in the past they didn't go into in so many details, and sometimes not knowing the details is better than knowing them and raising questions.
I agree with you, but the thing I like about it is, in this episode specifically, is because they made it a point of dialogue dump. So he states it officially, not we're alluding to it, not we're kind of talking about it, not we're going, wait, that just happened. Does that mean this is how it works? They're stating it, and there might be some stuff in the past that didn't quite mess with that, but this is what it is, and hopefully that's how it'll stay the rest of the season.
Gooch is a friend of the channel. Nice to see you here, my man. hold on one second. There was this super chat from the Dead Man. Price is Hannibal, script is Face, scribe is Murdoch, and Nick is BA.
I get to be the crazy helicopter pilot. Okay, I see how it is. Of course,
I like being Hannibal. I'll take it.
Murdoch was the best character, let's be honest.
Murdoch was a great character. I really liked all of them. They all had their own charm. But yeah, Murdoch was, as a kid...
Dwight Schultz was great.
Great in that role. Yeah. Although I will say that George Peppard was certainly good as Hannibal. He's still my favorite Hannibal, better than Liam Neeson. And Liam Neeson is a good actor, but I like George Peppard better.
Oh, yeah. And George Peppard thought he was going to be the star of the show, and then Mr. T became the center of all of the universe. But.
Right. But listen, Mr. T was really good on that show.
Oh, yeah.
But the truth is, they were all good. That was such a good ensemble cast. Those four people, maybe behind the scenes, they annoyed each other, but on screen, I really liked all four of those guys.
Well, the original Face was Captain Power. If you ever,
that's true.
Right. In the pilot, I think. Don't they still have him in the pilot?
Yeah, on the DVD set, you can still see him on the pilot. And it was actually a fair recasting because they all realized that actor was definitely not old enough to have been an adult during Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly.
Was airing, so that's the only reason why they recast him. And he was actually he was like, yeah, I kind of get it because I was a kid when that war was going on. There's no way I could pass for.
Yeah, but
when Dirk Benedict came in, it was like, yep, that makes sense.
Dirk Benedict is perfect casting for Face. I'm sorry, I understand. Yeah. I've seen the other guy. I have nothing against him. Dirk Benedict is the man for that role.
Templeton Peck,
yeah. Ron Donofrio, he loved the A-Team. He just says, I'm Murdoch. Pretty sure I'm the actual pilot here. Only actual pilot here.
It's probably true.
Right?
Yeah.
And, everybody loves the A-Team. The A-Team, used to watch the A-Team with my dad.
Is your retrospective series going to be after this one?
We're still discussing that. We still have some time to consider.
We had, kind of like we're talking about A-Team now, we had maybe 5-6 weeks ago where we got off on a Knight Rider tangent.
I was about to say, was it Knight Rider?
Knight Rider. A shadowy flight into the dangerous world of man who does not exist. Michael Knight, a young loner on a crusade.
Michael Knight's not even his real name because real Michael Knight.
No, it's not even his real face.
It's not without a name. Oh, man.
The hair's the only thing that survived.
Oh, yeah, the perm. That perm would survive a nuclear blast, yeah.
Anyhow, I guess Scribe Light, what did you think of this episode?
Hairspray on a desert island.
I mean, I'm trying to. I unfortunately did not watch it because I wasn't prepared for this, but I'm trying to reach back and then the summary. Unless I'm missing something, I think what I would have liked is if
it was Michael Long, but go on.
Okay, I think I'd like if there was a more unified theme between the two stories taking place at the same time, because on the one hand you had the sheriff and him acting out of grief, and Sam having to sort of placate people for this villain that he was. And then you had Al who's trying to chase down things. I mean, it obviously was two different stories taking place where you had Al doing the hunt and everything else. But if there was some connective tissue between the events going back in the past and something happening there, save for the characters' connection, I think that would have made the episode better. The whole how do you get I mean, it's literally Chekhov's gun in this situation kind of way. You could have made the person Sam was switching with something else than a illiterate serial killer. He could have been like, I don't know, the ex-husband of the lady and the kid, and he was ex-military himself or something. I don't know why they had to make him a serial killer. They could have added an element to it that might have explained his tenacity or something more than some, out of his mind sort of. I guess they're going for sort of a. What was the name of that guy? The Badlands that took the girl hostage back in the. I forget in the real world. I'm thinking of somebody, Johnny Whitmore or something. No, that was the guy at the Texas Tower. Anyway, I'm getting my serial killers mixed up. But yeah, so I mean, aside from that, but yeah, that I'll tell you what, that one interaction at the end, that one line where she's trying to talk down the sheriff. Yeah, as soon as I saw that scene, I hadn't thought about this episode, like I say, in 20, 30 years, and it immediately came back to me, and it's something that burned in my memory. So it had an effect on me. I'll give it that.
Yeah, and it was powerful that he was actually not there to save the criminal, but it was to save the sheriff from making this act that would have ruined his life. But
right.
Let me put it to the panel. Would this have benefited from being a two-parter? Because you have two very distinct storylines going, and any kind of crossover or that would have done that. We could have seen the scene of him, getting the gun.
Only if there was something more interesting going on in the past, because like Script said, there wasn't a whole lot for Sam to do as a character because he's just kind of waiting things out.
Yeah.
And so aside from having conversations and trying to placate them for the time that he has to wait and try to until the body gets back in the waiting room.
Considering that this is an episode of television, and I don't know that those days, I don't know what the budget was for this, I think that they made the best out of the situation. They needed to have Sam in one location, which is one set, but they also needed something more modern for the modern day set, for the quote-unquote present day set. And I think that they somehow managed to pull it off. I mean, could it have been done better? I agree with you, Scribe. There were things that they could have done here better, but in the kind of churning out 20-something episodes a year on a TV network of that time budget, I think that this is, for me, I've always liked this episode. I tend to agree it's not perfect, but I like the fact that they did take the swing here, and as opposed to, let's say, Lee Harvey Oswald, which was it was like a vanity swing, I think that in this case they took a swing, but they didn't necessarily miss. It may not be like a grand slam home run, but they got the points. They got a few points still.
You know what have made it better?
Well,
is if the Sam stuff was reduced in volume, let's say, because if the what was the name of the killer? I forget, Leon or something.
Leon Stiles or something.
Leon. If Leon had some piece of information that they needed, that they didn't have because they hadn't had the chance to question him, and he's on the run, and Sam was operating without that information, that was part of why they were chasing him down, in addition to the fact to get the body back, is they had to convince him or try to tease out of him something that was vital for Sam to be able to solve the problem. And he had more time with Al chasing down or interacting with this guy, then maybe that would have made the episode better, because Sam didn't really have a lot to do otherwise on his end. But other than that, yeah, I don't know.
But I feel like because we're getting to see a lot more of the present day, we're getting, a lot of times when there's the kind of the big opening episodes and closing episodes of the season, we're getting more info on Sam and Al and on their relationship. And I feel like if this had been the two-parter that opened it versus the Oswald one, I think it would have worked better also because they're kind of not necessarily changing, but firming up what their rules are as far as how the bodies go. Having that exposition before episodes like the one with the veteran with no legs, instead of us going in there going, wait, how does that work? That makes no sense. Having that been established prior to that, I think would have worked better. I just think this would have been a much more interesting story to start the season out and to do a bigger expanded one than the one there with Oswald. But part of that's just because I really did not like that episodes.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I guess let me see if there's anything still in the chat.
Sorry, I missed the Oswald episodes because I always found those so out of place with like Sam being possessed by Oswald. It didn't make any sense to me.
We had a lot of criticism.
I can imagine. I can imagine. I'm sorry.
Those are like nobody's favorite episodes.
Yeah.
And really, even when I look at our numbers, that whether not for the live shows, but even when I look at the replays, those are not episodes that people are really itching
Yeah.
Those are very unpopular episodes, but we got through them because we get through every episode, and that's part of what we do here. The good and the bad. Rhonda Nefero just noticed Script's cartoon icon is wearing a QLR T-shirt. Very cool. Yes. Matthew McGee says this was a solid episode in my opinion, and that's cool. Yeah, Deadman says it was a solid episode. I think most people feel that way. Tex Rogers says they could have added stuff in the past to extend it. They could have done more, and I tend to agree that if they had a two-parter, maybe there was more to do. I do think that this show sometimes has that limitation of those days that it's not on a streaming service, people aren't binging it, and every week you need to have something that's a bit more self-contained. Once in a blue moon, we got like a two-parter or even sort of a three-parter, but it wasn't often. Usually they went more for the self-contained episodes. If that's what they were going for, considering what they were trying to do, which was very ambitious, overall, I think that the positives in this episode outweigh the negatives, even if it's not perfect.
Agreed.
And yeah, I guess at this point, Mary White, if you wanted to send me the list, I can shout out everybody. I don't know if you can hear me, if you're still here. But
there it is.
Oh, here, the shout-outs. Okay, so I want to do shout-outs. Rhonda Nefero, Tex Rogers, Michelle Ferry, Kit Kat, Mur Rockstra, The Dead Man, Marla Sherendorf, Robnut Skubla. I guess I missed Robnut. I didn't see him. Maybe I didn't see his message. He didn't message. I don't think he wrote a lot of messages. Matthew McGee, Marks for 7, Caleb Levine. I did see Gooch, Price, Script, Nick, and Scribe. Thank you, Scribe, for jumping on. Mary White says, "Oh, no Lisa or Tracy this week." Well, Lisa apparently she's doing some kind of I want to say bike riding thing, and this she needs to train for that. If there's like a bike riding race or something, I could be talking nonsense now. I know how this sounds, but I think that there's a bike rider race, and I think that she's racing. That sounds weird. That's what I think, though. I'm going with a training for a bike rider race.
Or cross country,
what'd you say?
Or cross country cycling.
Maybe. And Tracy, I don't know. She was here last time. Sometimes people watch after the fact. I know Super Mario Brothers 3 always watches after the fact and leaves a comment. Usually is the first one to leave a comment. Other people as well. We appreciate that, even people that can be here with us live, and I know that there's also the replay gang, and I appreciate everything. And thank you again, the Dead Man, for that chat. And if you guys like the kind of shirt that Nick has, or stickers or whatever, like I said, there is that store button, whatever it is. And yeah, Nick says Oswald episodes are 1 out of 10 for me. This is 7.5 out of 10. This for me is like upper third. If we're going like top 30 episodes or whatever, I think this could be there. This is an episode that I like. It stands out. It's memorable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I'd have to look at all the episodes. I don't want to guarantee that it's a top 30, but I tend to think that it's a top 30 episode for me, because at least it tries to do something different. But we'll have time. We'll have time for summaries and for rankings at some point.
I know. I'm trying to get the time to go back through and like actually rank them all season by season, and then comparing season to season.
Oh, we're gonna do that. You know what? Yeah. Once we're done with this, we're gonna take the time to do some additional streams to discuss the rankings, do like some summary of each season, and really see what the top episodes are, and then try to give some kind of final ranking.
I also want to see. I know there's books. I don't know if there's comics, but I want to see if any of the books are available on audio drama to see where in that expanded universe they took the characters, if it was anything interesting.
Michelle Ferry, I'm going to get a shirt soon. Awesome. And thank you. I guess she liked your idea of the rankings. Mary White, thank you for the helping set up the shout outs. And Tex Rogers says it is memorable, and that I think affects its ranking of it. Yes. Season 1 has only 8 or 9 episodes. That's true. Rhonda Nefero changed my mind. This is one of the top quarter in my list. And yeah, Ron, I agree with you. Everybody hit like. Wait a second. Oh, there was an additional, I think there were additional super chats. So the dead man has $1.99. Al should have a burger place called Five Wives. That's pretty good. That's good. I never thought of that. That's actually creative, the dead man. And then there was the dead man price. I know you like beefaroni, so here's your beefaroni fund. Thank you.
Hey.
The truth is that Nick is the big fan of beefaroni. That he loves eating. If there's one man that loves eating beefaroni, it's Nick. 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. Loves his beefaroni. So thank you, the dead man. The dead man, if you see in the future that I didn't notice a super chat, you can always kind of give me a nudge in the comments. Maybe you sent them early on and I just kind of looked now. I'm so happy I caught on and I actually saw them. Anyhow, yes, it was a take on Five Guys. The Five Wives is a good idea. And I want to thank our guests. We have the script doctor. Let me get his I'm going to share the link to his channel now, just so you guys all can subscribe to it. I feel like a lot of people that are here in this chat are probably already subscribed. Nevertheless, this is the Script Doctor channel. Script, is there anything you want to plug or say before we go?
Other than this week on Scripts on Saturdays, we're doing a road trip romantic comedy called Spin the Bottle. We're going to see if it's actually funny or if we're going to pass it. So stay tuned for that this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Michelle Ferry says, such an awesome panel every week. Thank you so much. The dead man. Oh, you don't have to apologize. I should have noticed, but just let me know. Thank you, Price of Reason Live panel. Of course, chat friends, always enjoy Thursday night. Yes. And then Nick, anything you want to talk about? I have I just shared your link, the Backyard Tardis here. So you guys should.
I've been setting out shorts, and I'm going to have a more expanded on video with a lot of pictures and stuff. But I went to the Forest Moon Festival in Eureka, California, and Crescent City. But I went to the part in Eureka where we watched Return of the Jedi in the Forest Moon of Endor, and it was fun. I got my daughter her very first lightsaber, and we had a battle there right before the movie started, and she asked me, did you know that lightsabers were this fun? And she's like, did you buy them because you knew I would like? I'm like, yeah, I know about lightsabers, and I got some nice ones there. All of a sudden, I'm going to have a video on it reviewing them because the brand specifically, they're made to smack each other.
Sure.
And a lot of these ones that are like super obsessed with being movie accurate and all this kind of stuff, but they break, like the stuff you get at Disneyland.
Yeah.
These are made, and in fact, the guy sits up there, he hands you one, and he says, I want you to smack mine as hard as you can, and if you don't smack it hard, I'm going to make you look like a fool. It's part of his sales pitch. And they react when you hit two of them together. So, but we had fun. I got video of the zoo out there, where my daughter got to talk and chat with a bear, and just lots of fun stuff. So that'll be on my channel. Real quick, Ro had a long day at work. He just came into our chat. He apologizes. He spaced out because he got home super late and missed us here. And then Sean also was bummed he got to miss. He thought he was going to have a light day at the theater, and then they had him training somebody new, and he wasn't able to make it.
Well, life happens, and we understand that, and we appreciate that Scribe showed up here.
Yes.
I want to quickly say, Tex Roger says he appreciates the chat, folk, and analysis. I guess he's also, at the same time, he's hesitant about his future with us because you have to see what show that we do next. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to be in lockstep with you, Tex.
Yeah, and we've, we don't have anything definite set yet, but I know we have talked about maybe doing a couple.
Don't say it.
Shows. Well, I mean,
don't say it yet.
Period. I know nothing's firm, but
we're going to really think a lot about it. I think, first of all, we still have this 5th season of Quantum Leap. Then we're going to have to do some rankings and maybe go over stuff. I think there'll be a few streams of that. And then I have a number of ideas, and there's a lot of stuff we've been discussing. But I think that there are some really great ideas that will still be fun for everybody to be a part of later. The Dead Man says, everybody check out Scripts on Saturdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. That is true. And then
Thank you.
Sacrif Scuttlebutt podcast. I'm so sorry, guys. It's fine, man. You know, things happen. And I don't know if Sean was here, but in any case, people work hard and sometimes late shifts. We all understand that. This is Scribe Light's website. YouTube channel. If you're not already subbed to him, you should do that immediately. Scribe, is there anything you want to plug before we head out?
Sure. Well, earlier tonight I did my weekly episode of TED Excellence, where I take a look at off-brand TED Talks for information and enlightenment. Tonight's episode was how fairy tales teach boys and men the wrong lessons of masculinity. That was fun to look at. There's also TEDx Bingo every week, where we take a look and see what tropes in TEDx talks we can identify. I learned so much. Not really, but it was entertaining to listen to someone try to convince me otherwise. And then tomorrow morning, unless something really goes kooky, at 9:05 a.m. Pacific Time, noon 05 Eastern Time, I'll be on Midnight's Edge in the morning to talk about movie stuff and entertainment news, and probably something dealing with Friday the 13th, because tomorrow's Friday the 13th. And so otherwise, check out my channel. I got a whole bunch of stuff on there. Different topics, scripted stuff from the olden days, a couple of true crime videos, and some weekly podcasts, I guess you'd call them now, on news and stuff.
Scuttlebutt Rose says, thanks, Tex. My short answer is I really enjoyed the episode. Yeah, and absolutely check out what Scribe Light is doing. He does some really cool stuff with that TED Excellent stuff. I manage to catch those from time to time.
I got to have you on sometime to do one.
I think that once you invited me and I actually came on and did it. I just
that's
been
right.
a while.
That's what's been. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I do one every week. I got so many things in my head. I apologize. I forgot.
It's cool. It's cool. You know, just like we sometimes do things on the fly. Like you kind of joined us on the fly. I think at some point, this was a while back. You did a TED Excellence, and you're like, "Hey, do you want to jump on?" And I did. So
that's right.
Obviously, if you do stuff, let me know. We should definitely do another one together.
Sure thing.
And on that very positive note, I'm just going to put on our outro, and we'll be on our way. We'll see you all next week at 10 p.m. Eastern on Quantum Leap Revisited. Bye. I'm such